I just had two conversations over the last 2 weeks inside of the series on the revenue logic of customer obsession with the chief sales officer and the chief revenue officer. They both agreed that in an environment where it's harder to get access to executives, it's fewer and farther between those meetings. When those meetings happen, they're shorter and they're happening more and more at the end of the journey. That what their competitive advantage is understanding their customers, that insights that's allowing them to be a partner, not a vendor selling. Now, that's been the Forrester, Gartner, you have to be the trusted advisor kind of thing. But it's really interesting to hear C-level executives that are in charge of a sales organization saying that's what we need to be. And it's more imperative today as AI is giving everybody kind of a lift in terms of what they understand and what they know. Leaning on the true customer obsession is becoming more important than ever, was their conclusion. And just so that's a long ramble, not really a question, but what rings true in that for you?
I 100% agree with that. In a context of marketing, marketers are often good advanced scouts of what is going on in the industry and what is the customer talking about and where are things shifting for them. So when I think of my company's past and present, what does that look like? It's understanding the context of financial services. There's new regulatory mandates coming down the pipe. There's all of these things that sit adjacent to this big industry shift happening with AI. What the customer wants are solutions that will help them do their business better. And that's where if you can stay in front of that conversation and really pick up on and use AI and other powerful tools to understand what are they talking about, where are they showing up, what is keeping them up at night, and then how can we stay in front of that in terms of how we go out and talk to the customer, both kind of top of funnel marketing conversations down to where salespeople are sitting in front of them in a room. I think the other thing that's really important and a really successful entrepreneur, an entrepreneurial company I used to work with was always of the mindset you need to be speaking with your customers every single day. Every single person should have 50 meetings a year. Doesn't matter whether that's someone sitting in IT, sitting in marketing, or sitting in sales. Everyone should be customer facing. I'm a big believer of that as well. I think it helps remind you that without your customers, you have no business. So you have to really understand where they're at, what the priorities are, what's shifting for them. In the context of my industry, it's things you hear elsewhere. It's like there's the pie is shrinking, margins are compressing, business is more complex, there's more data and information for them than ever before. How can they make it simpler? And those are the kinds of things that I lead with.
So I love it. You just set a really high bar. And I love that you did this. That everyone should have 50 meetings a year. Everyone should be
Can't take
customer
credit for
facing.
that. That was Lance Eglen. People can go look up who that was.
Well, that's
But
okay because you believed it and you said it. But even as like CMOs, right?
yeah,
We know, and again, like the Gartners, Forresters of the world, they've been telling us for years, you got to play the role of chief customer officer, right? There isn't that role in the B2B world. There isn't B2C. We know that we need to take on that mantle. And we usually start out of position. The first thing we do is start calling customers. There's not a sales conversation. I'm new. I'm here to learn. And you have these deep learning conversations, but then they stop because we get really busy and we see our list of things that even the proactive things just grow and grow. One of the most difficult things is staying connected meaningfully to the customer. And a 4-time B2B CMO that was on the podcast, she said, Steve, we're not in enough of the right rooms at the right time with the right people asking the right questions,
yeah.
right? And the 50 meetings a year,
Should say we can edit this after 50 meetings a month.
50 meetings a month.
So in the context of that company, 50 meetings a month was how that company operated. Now for a marketer, that might turn into 50 meetings a quarter, or you're at an event and you have 50 conversations a month, I think is a high bar and what you should be aiming for. To your point, that's going to play out differently in different groups. But the point of it is exactly that the customer informs how we think about the business. It informs how we think about how we're transforming our product and our go-to-market strategy based on where the customer and the industry is going. rather than like a heavy inward looking focus of, again, we have these shiny new toys. We have all these things we think are clever. We're transforming our organization to make it better for ourselves. All of that's great, but that doesn't matter to the customer. What matters to the customer is the problems they're trying to solve cost effectively to double the size of their own business, like all the different pressures that they have.